50 wins and 32 losses. You may remember they won some tiebreakers and ended up with the number 3 seed. And in the what was their record? We're projecting them to be 50 and 32.
I believe that was also their record last year.
Anyway, we also are projecting them. Our ESPN projection model has them at 50 and 32, but not in third. It has them in 6th. So in the off season, they had 50 and 32. You were right, Bontemps. In the off season, you will remember they made some significant moves. Number one, they signed Luka to a 3-year contract extension. Luka Doncic, it was they're undoubtedly their number one priority in the offseason. They were able to get that done. Did it happen on the first day that he could sign?
It did. Yep. He just paused that had the Jordan tour in right there in L.A. and was there on August 2nd, signed that bad boy, no questions. Boom, off they went.
So that was a big thing for them. They also signed 2 guys who got bought out of their contracts. Marcus Smart, who got bought out by the Wizards, and the more surprising one, DeAndre Ayton, got bought out by the Portland Trail Blazers. We didn't necessarily see that coming, at least not when it happened, and he signed a 2-year deal with the Lakers, will be their starting center. And then they signed Jake LaRavia. They did that on June 30th. That was actually their first move, was signing Jake LaRavia, who's it's an interesting case study. We can get to him in a second. So the other thing, of course, is LeBron. LeBron had this situation where he picked up his player option, and his agent, Rich Paul, gave comments to Shams Charania that indicated LeBron was not really sure what his future was going to be. And then silence. There has been no further on-the-record discussion from Rich Paul, no on-the-record comments from LeBron James, even though he was just in China. He didn't have any quotes while he was there that really addressed it. And so he, for the first time in his career, is heading into a season where he does not have a player option or a contract for the next year. He has never been in a position like this. He is not eligible to extend his contract, and he has a no-trade clause. So very likely will be headed towards unrestricted free agency. Now, he has certainly been an unrestricted free agent a whole number of times in his career, but has never been in a situation where his team is not invested in him and has chosen not to invest in him past this year. Rich Paul, I think I should just say he told me that they didn't have material conversations with the Lakers about a new contract. That can be a statement that can be taken a bunch of different ways. Maybe they knew what they were going to get. Maybe they expected the Lakers to offer, but it wasn't like LeBron asked for a new deal and the Lakers said no, and the Lakers, according to Rich, didn't come to them and say, here's a new 2-year or 3-year contract. So that's sort of the backstory of their offseason, which is there's a lot there, Bontemps. To me, I'm more interested because I know LeBron's going to be a Laker at the end of the month because he has a no-trade clause. I know Luka is invested in being a Laker. I know they have these new players. We talked the entire season last year about how they needed perimeter defense. They lost Dorian Finney-Smith and added LaRavia and Marcus Smart. On the court, with what the team that they're going to have on opening night, do you think the Lakers have materially improved on their 50-win team that was in the middle of the number 3 to number 6 seed morass last year?
I mean, maybe. I would say the biggest argument that they've improved, and McMahon has talked about this, is that if the expectation is you're going to get a better version of Luka than last year, I think you could also make an argument you won't get as good of a version of LeBron as last year, just because he is the oldest player in the league, and while he has defied Father Time in a way basically nobody ever has, there is at least some possibility he will regress. And then a lot of these other guys are question marks. Like, Marcus Smart has basically not done anything for 2 years. If Marcus Smart from the 2022 NBA Finals shows up, that's an improvement for the Lakers. If the Marcus Smart, who was not very effective for Memphis or Washington, shows up, I don't think that's going to make a significant difference for them. DeAndre Ayton is probably the best option that they could have gotten realistically in free agency at center. But again, we're damning with faint praise there. Like, DeAndre Ayton is also not, I would say, some massive difference-making player. No, maybe he'll get with LeBron James and Luka Doncic like he was the year when they went to the finals with Chris Paul in Phoenix and have a great year. I wouldn't rule that out. But I would say on the whole, the Lakers are probably a little better. I also think one thing that really hasn't been talked about a lot is basically this entire team is up for a contract this season and going into next summer.
Yeah, let me go through it right now. So LeBron, we already mentioned. Yep. Rui Hachimura is in the last year of a deal paying him $18.2 million. He's extension eligible. That could get extended. Austin Reeves makes $14 million this year. He has a player option for next year, which is widely expected him to not pick it up and become unrestricted. Gabe Vincent is in the last year of a deal paying him $11.5 million. Maxi Kleba is in the last year of a deal paying him $11 million. I mentioned Ayton got a 2-year deal, but the second year is a player option, so technically he can opt out and be a free agent. Marcus Smart signed a 2-year deal, but he has a player option. He can opt out and become a free agent. Jackson Hayes is up. He can be a free agent. All those guys.
You want the shorter way to do this? On the Lakers' whole roster, there are 4 players who have a guaranteed contract for next season. Luka Doncic, Jared Vanderbilt, Jake LaRavia, and Adu Thoreau, their second-round pick. Bronny James is partially guaranteed. Dalton Connect has a team option. Everybody else either has a player option or is an unrestricted free agent. Now, that could work out great, but that also could be a thing that causes a lot of issues, and you have a lot of guys trying to get paid and a lot of guys trying to be in the best situation they can going into next summer, right? So all that's to say that I think for the situation the Lakers were in, I think they did about as well as they could have. Obviously, getting Luka Doncic done is the only thing that really matters. That's a gigantic win for them to get him to sign for multiple years and to be there going forward. But there are a lot of questions, and I think it's going to be a very interesting test to see how JJ Redick handles things. Because, look, I would say he deserves a lot of credit for how they went through the season, and they, with some smoke and mirrors, I would say, had a pretty good defense for what they had. Then they got in the playoffs against the Wolves, and once they got stuck in a series against a team that could game plan for it, a lot of stuff on both sides of the ball didn't look so great. So it's going to be a very interesting season in LA.
But look, the fact that Luka has had a wake-up call and is taking conditioning seriously, is he going to maintain that commitment? We'll see. There have been a couple of times where he's taken it seriously and then that didn't keep it up, but he seems to have had a wake-up call. There seemed like he was more of a leader during Slovenia's Eurobasket than I've ever seen him be. He's a guy who's been a 5-time first-team All-NBA selection despite constant condition concerns and immaturity. If he's turned a corner on those two things, he's always going to yell at refs, so I don't sweat that. But if he's turned a corner there and he's playing in the low 240s, high